Ollie and G, Ollie and G, Ollie and G, and a cup of coffee. It's Ollie and G, Ollie and G, and a cup of coffee. It's Ollie and G, Ollie and G, and a cup of coffee. And a Cornish pasty.
Hi guys, so tea or coffee?
Coffee, please.
Oliver, tea or coffee?
Oh, I thought the title was OG and tea, so it's Oliver with gin and tonic, but I'll have tea.
I've got gin and tonic if you want it.
Oliver and G and a cup of coffee.
Okay.
I know that now.
Instant coffee or Nespresso coffee?
Espresso would be lovely, thank you. First instalment of Oliver and G and a cup of coffee, and the famous person in front of me, well, infamous shall we say really, is the legend who is Lee Towersey. Woo!
Hi guys.
Nice
Welcome
to
to my workshop.
Fantastic. We are in your workshop. This is an amazing workshop. There's a massive stuff in here. I'll show you around in a minute just to go through, but we're here to interview Lee. Lee obviously is half of the Sam and Lee and a cup of tea process going forward, obviously, and now we're just turning the tables on him, and here we go. We're going to interview Lee.
Bit of competition.
We are. We'll see. All right, but as we go through the interview, we'll try not to pick out the questions that you'll find difficult to answer, but we're going to have some fun doing this.
Good man, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So, first question from Oliver. Let's go for it.
I'm eating Lee's lovely cake from Serena in the workshop. It's very nice. So first question is, I know you've had this before, why build R2-D2 and what got you into it?
Okay, so when you have a look around the workshop, it's still here actually. I was into remote control cars, boats and planes as a kid. The planes are all smashed and long gone, but I've kept the other stuff. And I was looking for something bigger to build. And that's when I found the R2 builders and built myself an R2-D2. And it was an R2-D2 because, let's face it, most builders want to do that. They want the R2-D2 first. Then you get to realise there's more astromechs out there in the Star Wars galaxy. So I've since gone on and built an array of other astromechs and other droids as well.
Fantastic. So what other droids have you sort of started building and not completed yet? I'm looking at
I know why you've asked that.
I'm looking down here, something on the floor at the moment.
So at the same time I built my first R2-D2, which was an A&A kit, which is a styrene kit from America. They were also doing a run of K9s. So in 2007, 2008, I bought a K9 kit and I hastily assembled it and then got sidetracked by R2, finished my R2, haven't gone back to K9 since.
So this was 2006. So we're
No,
talking
2007, I think.
seven.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're talking 14 odd years. It's been sitting
Oh,
there
blimey.
waiting to be built.
Of course, yeah.
You'll see a picture of it. I'll flash up on there anyway. But
So that's about the same time as the original Celebration Europe, 2007-ish.
That's right. Which is the first time I met you, Oliver.
Yeah.
That was. But yeah, so I am. It's out because it used to live under the counter and was just forgotten and getting dusty. It's still dusty, but at some point I will be finishing it. That's my next build. Once I finish the Astromech I'm on at the moment, that will be my next build.
fantastic. So just to follow on from that, you went to Celebration Europe. Was that kind of the first time you met a lot of these characters that are in sort of the club at the moment?
Yeah, they had a really good sized display, I remember, and it was in like a rectangular shape with lots of displays on, but not many droid builders then at that time. The club was quite small, and I only met Oliver at the time, who was rushing off to do a talk, I remember. So, and it was absolutely packed, I remember. Trying to help you get through the crowds and stuff,
Yeah.
and you trying to drive an R2, with all the people with your kit and stuff, and Oliver was a bit more focused on the talk and stuff, so he was gone. That was it. That was the meeting of Oliver. And the other guys that were there, Oliver will have to remind me of their names, but they're
sure.
not around anymore.
You got Mick Pell.
Oh,
who's
Mick Pell was
now
there. Okay, now in
Adelaide.
Australia. Yeah.
You had Wim from Belgium, Arndt from Germany, Steve Cole I think was there.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, I think majority of people sort of have moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah, bearing in mind it's 2007, which
Exactly.
is quite a few years ago
Yeah.
now.
But so I was already doing my build by then, but the most important thing I found, the most beneficial thing, was to actually physically see an R2D2.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the 2 layers of skins and, you know, the 2-layer domes and where different things go and which way up they go, when you didn't have as much reference as you did on the internet, you know, you have more reference on the internet now, but to physically see Oliver's R2 was such a help. It was like, yeah, I can see how it all goes together now. So,
absolutely.
and I think that still helps now. You know.
So I think that's one question we're going to ask you. What did you learn from going to these events? What did you find? So specifically looking at droids and actually
Absolutely.
working out where bits go,
Definitely.
and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah. Don't collect autographs. I learnt that at the event as well, because the queues are long and they're very expensive. And yeah, and just I know how popular Star Wars was then and is now still, you know. But I was blown away by the crowds. The crowds were phenomenal. It was so busy. I took Luke, my eldest at the time. He was into Star Wars, so we both went. We met Kenny, and Don Bees was there as well. So I met Don, who I didn't really know much about. I didn't know much about Don at the time, so but I did meet Don, and yeah, it was an educational trip for sure, and a fun day out, as Celebration always is.
Yeah, I think every celebration's got quite a lot to explain of new builders.
Yes.
They pop along, it's like Super Droids, and it's like, oh, I can build that, and then yeah, we see a massive surge in builders afterwards.
Exactly, and we're building more than just Astromechs now as well, aren't we? So, you know, it's just a reference for all sort of things, and also different materials people are using now.
Absolutely.
3D printing wasn't around at the time, but you can now see how good 3D printing is, and the nice finish a lot of people do now.
Well,
so,
also the resin printing, obviously. That's
and resin printing,
that's Oliver can't leave
thank
things
you,
alone.
Oliver.
Has to try and play with things. So
yeah, this is from my degenerate board. So this is pieced together, Oliver. But we're getting sidetracked a little bit here. But that didn't fit on my Mars, so I had to do a Boolean join for it, and I'm going to paint it. So I've got some load of paints there, and these are eventually going to be painted. So that's what that is.
So from sort of moving on to the next question then, from your first build, obviously your reference going to Celebration was fantastic because that gave you a great idea of what to do. What did you learn since your first build of how you can improve your building the droids? So you started with the ANA frame, obviously you got that through, and obviously followed the instructions that came from America and through that way, which was a great build of that.
Yeah, because I was into remote control cars and boats and what have you, I was used to building kits, because I always used to build these things. I never used to just buy them and ready to run. So, but it was always a kit. So the ANA frame seemed to be the way to go for me because it was a kit basically. You still had to have some engineering knowledge on how you're going to bolt things together and what have you. But I quickly learned that there are things that you need to just make up yourself, how they come together. And then the strength of the ANA frame, it was used for the advert that Oliver and I did, the Curry's advert. and it took a lot of abuse. They were rocking it from side to side and stuff, and the styrene frame started to split. So I had to jerry rig it together, and I was back at R10, which is a props company here in the UK, that I was drilling holes and putting metal plates in to strengthen it and so on. So my next build, funny enough, was an aluminium build. I wanted to go heavy duty. So, you know, lightweight joys are brilliant for lifting around and stuff, and the styrene and what have you, they're great, and the 3D printing. But for strength, all day long aluminium. But then you need ramps to get it into and out your vehicle, or you need to easily be able to dismantle it. So there's lots of hurdles you have to cross depending on which approach you take. But for me, I prefer aluminium now, just for the strength and the abuse that my joids have taken.
So what did you find kind of the difference from doing styrene and turning into aluminium? What kind of issues or problems did you have in that turnaround, or any kind of new skills you had to learn in that way?
Okay, so with the styrene, it's more of finding the right glues to use. The Plaswell stuff is very good. We get it from a company called EMA Models. So the gluing can be tricky, and learning which glues, if you've got two different materials to glue together, you know, yes, you can find all this on the internet, but that was the one difficulty I had at the time. And then with an aluminium build, it's a lot more machining. You know, you're tapping, you're drilling a lot of holes and tapping holes and so on. And hopefully I can show you later on, but I've designed this thing on the aluminium joint now where you can easily remove the skins, so it's magnetic. So it's got this clasp system, so you can take it on and off. So yeah, it's just there are different things you have to learn depending on the build you have, but it's been alright. The more you build, the easier it gets. Put it that way.
Fantastic. Well, that skin sounds fantastic. That kind of new idea. Certainly, we'll have a look at that. Oliver, next question then.
So what was your first droid event, and sort of who did you meet, and sort of what did you get out of that?
So first droid event, as far as the club's concerned, was Milton Keynes. So that's when we thought, I think it was Milton Keynes, and that's when we decided really we needed a UK club. So we went along to Milton Keynes, which was the football stadium at the time. It was, Oliver, you have to remind me the name of the show. It was by Jason Joyner, and it was I think it was Showmasters, yeah. Which sadly the event's not there anymore, and it was a good little event. I think it was a good Comic Con. But we had our own area, the Droid Builders did. We had our own interesting logo.
Which we do have a patch for. Which I think there's a few still available.
Yeah,
so
anniversary
have a look
patch,
at this website
yeah.
address that's just appeared.
Indeed. And yeah, just to hang out with a load of like-minded people that are doing the same thing. You know, it was lovely to meet Oliver the first time, but then you meet Oliver times 10 or how many of us there. It was a good turnout, I seem to remember.
10 me's.
And 10 Olivers, yeah, not so sure, but similar to you, Oliver.
Yeah.
It's fine, it's bearable.
One is enough.
And yeah, it was great. It was really good. And again, you know, even though you think you've solved a problem when you're building a droid, you'll see that other people approach it different ways. And there's not really ever a wrong way to do stuff. You know, as long as you end up with the same result, it's fine. So it's interesting to see other builders. Oh, what have you done there? How have you done that? You know, and it might be a completely different way to the way I'd done it. But yeah, it was good just to hang out and talk droids for all day, and then drive them around, because there's a circuit where you can drive them around the ground. So we just drove them around this really good circuit around the event. So it's great.
Excellent,
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah, really good.
So can you remember the names of the people you met there at all?
Wow. So we had Stuart Bone, Simon Patel, Oliver Steeples, of course. There was the guy with Emmy and stuff. Pod Studios, Mark Enright. Yes, he was there. Who else was there? Brad Oakley, I think. Yeah, I don't remember Brad being there, but yeah, it must have been. Yeah. I think Mike Philippides was there as well. That's all I can remember. So that's 6 plus me, 7. Amanda Ward went, I remember. So that's 8. Yeah, I think that was all the people I remember. I can picture there's a photo somewhere of us all lined up.
Yeah. We'll see we'll bring that one up.
Yeah, and I went the full Star Wars look as well that day. God, I think I had Star Wars jeans on and my Rebel hoodie on and the Star Wars t-shirt. Christ. So yeah, but it's a good day. It was brilliant, and I've got so many friends from that event, you know, and the club has developed since then and has just got bigger. And yeah, they're all still good friends. And yeah, Amanda's in the industry, so I see Amanda around Pimer Studios as well. Yeah, good day.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, let's move on then. So here's a question from your past then. What was your first ever sci-fi toy you received as a child, and do you still have it?
A sci-fi toy. Well, it would be a Star Wars toy, because as far as sci-fi is concerned, I was only ever into Star Wars.
Right.
Never a Trekkie. Used to like a bit of Blake 7. And Battlestar Galactica, the original Battlestar Galactica I used to like. But it was Star Wars for me. And it was the toys. It was the 3 3/4 inch toys. And I think my first one was R2D2. I collected them all. And then when I bought my first house, I sold them all. So
No.
yeah, all gone. And I sold them to someone I knew. And they then lost interest. And I was quite new to eBay at the time, so they gave them back to me to sell for them.
Oh gosh.
The irony, and I got even more money for them. They paid me a commission, but yeah, I ended up selling my own toys twice, basically. So yeah, but I just collect the Astromechs now. So I have gone back and rebought some of those things, the Astromechs, but only the Astromechs, none of the people, none of the things.
Is the collection out anywhere? Do you have
Yeah, it's in the house actually. So I'll show you
We'll
that
get a
when we
picture of
go
that,
into the
absolutely.
office. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, what you have just mentioned, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. What is your current favourite Star Wars toy or collectible? Currently, your favourite.
Favourite Star Wars toy currently or collectible? Well, so it's got to be my 3 3/4 droids, but that's as an entirety. But if I had to single one out, just one droid. God. No, really. The sideshow figures, I like them, the 16th scale. They're good, so I collect. They are 16th, aren't they?
1/10.
1/10, sorry. Yeah,
No, 1/6.
1/6, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The Kotobuki has 1/10.
Okay, so the sideshow Astromechs have got to be one of them. There's an R2D2 with the Digeric table and the layer hologram. That's probably my favourite toy because the quality is so good.
Fantastic.
So, it leads on to, what is your favourite Star Wars character that isn't a droid?
It's got to be Hammerhead.
Ooh, unusual choice.
Yeah, Hammerhead. So reason being is because when I originally saw Star Wars, which was one of the first films I saw at the cinema, the cantina scene was amazing. You know, to see all these creatures and stuff, it just blew you away. You know, even Greedo and what have you. But I remember Hammerhead at the time. You know, the shape of his head, and I'm sure the eyes did move, didn't they? I'm pretty sure the eyes moved, or did they?
I think it was just
As
static.
a kid, I decided that the eyes moved. So, but I just couldn't work. How on earth have they created this creature? You know, there's 7-year-old me thinking, how have they done that? So that and again at the time when I had the figures, that was probably one of my favourite figures when I had the small Kenner figures. So yeah, Hammerhead. There you go. And there's one at Galaxy's Edge as well. So I stopped and took plenty of photos of it. It still takes me back to my childhood whenever I see Hammerhead. So
Where
yeah.
did you see Star Wars? Where did you see Star Wars? Where was the first time?
So I saw it at Staines Cinema. I lived in Staines, which is now Staines upon Thames, and there's a cinema along the river, which is now a block of flats, sadly. But yeah, me and my mum went, and I went to see it.
Did your mum enjoy it?
Yeah, I think she did. Yeah, and she still goes to see them now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, my dad not so interested, but he went to see the first film that Oliver and I made, Force Awakens, and at the end of it, he says, "Yeah," he said, "I'm sure it was good for anybody that knew what was going on."
So does it sort of ruin it for you, knowing how like animatronic heads are made?
Not really, no. No, I don't think it does, because I've got this new sort of appreciation of the work that's put into them. So it doesn't really destroy the illusion for me, because obviously at 7 you think it's a real animal almost, you know, a real creature. But as you get older, you realise that's not possible. But then when you get to see how these animatronic heads are made and the skill that goes into them, then it's just a newfound love for the animatronics, really.
Would you ever think of actually performing in one if you were asked to?
I'd love to try it. I've heard it's not for everybody. The same with prosthetics, apparently. The first like 10-15 minutes of you being sort of encased in this either animatronic head or this full prosthetics, you have to sort of go through this barrier of just wanting to rip it off, and you've got this like head full of beads with the 30, 40 or maybe 50 servos around your head. So yeah, I wouldn't mind trying it, but I'm no actor, so I probably wouldn't give them the performance they wanted anyway. The animatronics would be great and that'd be moving fine, but me as a person, probably not so good.
Anyone starting in the droid building kind of process, what would you be your biggest advice? What's the main kind of advice you'd give to that person?
Okay, the most important thing every time is to join the main clubs. Now, there's quite a few places to go, but the main ones I would always recommend is astromech.net, which is the worldwide club. astromech.info, especially if you're in UK and Europe, because that's the UK one which is good for sourcing parts and local advice as well, and hopefully you can meet up with someone. And then you've got the Facebook groups as well, and there's a Droid Builders website as well, droidbuilders.uk, which is very good if you're not looking to just build astromechs, but you want to be pointed in the right direction for any other droid you might want to build. And then do your research. You do lots of research and decide which materials you're more comfortable with. 3D printing, wood, styrene, aluminium, whatever you've got access to machinery wise. You will probably have to buy some tools if you haven't got them already. They don't have to be expensive. And then just do research it takes a few weeks. I know someone, funny enough, at work that's doing it. Now they work in the mould shop at Pinewood, and they've been researching already for about 3 weeks. Haven't even started yet, they're still researching. Coming to me for advice. I think they're going to go down the styrene route. But if you decide to 3D print, for example, Mr. Badley does the 3D printed files, so he's a good Facebook group to join. And yeah, just join the groups, do your research, decide which materials you're going to use, and then go for it. And talk to people as well. Post questions. There's loads of answers already posted on the internet, on the forums and what have you. But yeah, ask questions and meet up with builders as well. As I already mentioned, that's quite important.
Yeah, as I say, there's no silly question.
No, not
and
at
it
all.
may have been asked a few times before.
Absolutely.
Just ask the question again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Definitely. And when you've finished it, take it to events. It's very nice to have it sitting in the corner doing nothing, but when you meet up with these like-minded people, and when you get admiration from general public when they see your droid driving around and that, it's so rewarding that get out there with your droid if you can.
Something called the Builder's Grin.
The Builder's Grin. Yeah, I like it.
Absolutely.
Builder's Grin.
Yeah.
So, this is a good question, bearing in mind...
I'll be the judge of that.
Oh, you haven't heard the question yet. So, what's your favourite Star Wars film and your least favourite Star Wars film?
Oh, Oliver! Oh dear.
So now you know why.
Well, let's
It's
start.
a good question. It's a tricky one.
Okay, well, let's change it slightly. Let's start with the first three. What's your favourite one out of the first three?
It's got to be. It does change, but really, it's got to be New Hope.
Right.
Because it was the first Star Wars film I saw. And seeing that crawl and the ship just fly overhead in the cinema and the rumbling of the speakers, it blew me away as a 7-year-old. It still does now. It's just like phenomenal. It really does stand the test of time. So yeah, Empire Strikes Back will probably be my next one of the first films. And a lot of people always say Empire Strikes Back is a blooming good film, but for me personally, New Hope, because the memories attached with it as well.
Okay. On the first three then?
First three.
First three, that is 4, 5, 6, Giles.
No.
Yeah,
1, 2,
but
3. I'm talking about.
Prequels.
Pause. From the prequels then, 1, 2, and 3. Any favourite ones out of that, or any scenes within that kind of favourite?
Okay, can I pick scenes?
Yes.
Because it's very difficult for me to judge those 3 films, and the reason for that is that I appreciate kids of that generation probably have got more of a fondness than anyone else because they grew up with those Star Wars films as kids, like I did with the original films. So I know people are quite defensive over them now. Now the sequels have come out and they're not, because they're older and not liking them maybe. I just think it's a generation thing. So I was a bit older and not really into Star Wars. It wasn't cool to be into Star Wars when the prequels came out, even though I was quite excited that Star Wars was back. So I didn't really like the CG in them. However, The pod racing is awesome. It's phenomenal. It's brilliant. I loved that. I like Formula One. I love motor racing and stuff. So that's why I was interested in that as well, probably. But I just thought that was amazing. And Darth Maul. Anything with Darth Maul in it.
Yeah.
You know, the fight, and they killed him off so quickly.
Oh.
Like, oh my god, you know, this there's a new character here. He looks badass. He's brilliant. He's cool. I'd love to know more about him. And they kill him. Well, we thought they killed him.
We thought we did. Yeah.
So yeah, they're my favourite scenes in the prequels.
Should we
Let's
say
say.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the last three, obviously your involvement in this is quite great.
Yeah.
You're on Oliver's, shall we say?
Yeah.
Obviously, Oliver's greatly involved with the pre-build up and building the droids and things like that. So it's
Absolutely,
quite
absolutely.
So,
I'm
rather than you putting you under pressure and saying what's your
I
favourite
wouldn't
worst
get under pressure, Charles. I think that's a horrible question.
What's your favourite scene out of the three
favourite scene.
where you were
Well, no,
involved?
I can pick a favourite film actually.
Okay, pick a favourite.
Rogue One.
That's not. We're talking about the 9 films.
They've got to be the main films.
Skywalker.
Okay, Force Awakens.
No, I think that's a fair answer because it is the later films.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, Rogue One, or Force Awakens, because of the experience Oliver and I had. You know, again, it was almost like New Hope over again for me. This was a new chapter in my life, though, this time, coming into the industry. And again, Star Wars was back. And because I was so actively involved with Star Wars stuff anyway, because of the droid builders, to be working on it, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought Force Awakens was a good film. I really enjoyed it as a film. So yeah, Force Awakens.
Okay, so you mentioned Rogue One there, which is obviously one of the spin-offs that came through. Yeah, Rogue One. What are you looking forward to in the future regarding Star Wars and the filmmaking, or even series kind of situation? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to keeping working for Neil Scanlon in the Droid shop.
Did you hear that, Neil?
That's what I'm
Did
looking
you hear
forward
that,
to.
I think legally he's not allowed to say anymore.
That's what I'm
we
looking.
We should move on. So, do you want to ask the next question?
No, I mean, in a sense of what would you like to see? I mean, there's some great kind of program films coming out, or the TV series coming out, which they're going to put on Disney and that.
Yeah, it's interesting because the approach that they're doing now, we've got more films coming out eventually. No, we haven't started making any. I think I'm not sure if I think Obi-Wan's going to be a film, isn't it? I think
Well, it's a series.
I'm not sure because I'm not working on it. But yeah, I think we will have some new films coming out, so that's quite exciting to see where they go with that now. Now the Skywalker saga's finished, where's it going to go? And the TV series, I love the TV series idea because Mandalorian worked so well. Mandalorian was phenomenal. I enjoyed both seasons. I preferred the first season, but the second season was still great. So hopefully the other stuff that we're doing, like I'm on Andor at the moment, hopefully that will be as good. But they've got to be their own standalone stories and not just repeating. Like, we don't want to see Cassian going off on a mission or looking after a child just like Mando is. You know, they've got to have their own standalone story, and I think that's what Lucasfilm are going to try and do. You know, we're going to have different categories of dramatisations, if you like, for Andor and Mandalorian and so on, and see where they go. So that's quite interesting. I'm quite excited for that. There is so much to see. I don't watch any of the animated stuff just because I can't keep up with it all. So I think it's going to be very difficult for people to keep on top of everything that's due out next year. You know, we've got another Mando, we've got what we've got to the Fett, we've got Andor, we've got what else we've got?
Rogue Squadron upcoming.
Yeah, we've got Rogue Squadron upcoming, and we've got Obi-Wan. So that's 5 things, at least 4 of which I think are out next year. So what a time to be a Star Wars fan, you know. But if you're busy like me, I think might have to be selective on what I can watch.
Absolutely agree with you.
But no, exciting times, definitely exciting.
I think most of the viewers on here would have watched all of them so far, and I think you're missing out on the cartoons.
Really? Bad Batch?
And Clone Wars.
Yeah?
you weren't
Okay.
watching.
Yeah.
Bad Batch is. I mean, Bad Batch is only new. It's only I think 7 or 8 episodes
Yeah,
into when we're filming
yeah.
this.
I do plan
And
to watch when it finishes. I'll probably binge watch it.
Yeah, it's very. They're only half an hour. So
Yeah.
Great, thank you. So, how does being part of the Builders Committee change your life? Now, obviously, we're talking about R2 UK and also Droid Builders as we sort of combine the group together to make it bigger. How's that kind of? What's the best thing about it?
It's certainly a responsibility, because you're suddenly, you as a droid builder, you build your droid, you turn up to an event, and you're sort of entertaining the public from afar with your droid, and you just turn up and then you go home, pack up and go home. But then, as a committee member, as you two are, I think you then have a bit of responsibility for everybody else that's going, because you want them to have an enjoyable experience at the event. So you want to just make sure that it's planned well. There's activities, especially when we do like our Droid Builders UK event, hopefully next year, as it was R2 UK. You just want to make it a good experience for people to want to stay there all day or the weekend and want to come again next year. So it's just a responsibility, I think, and making sure that everything ticks along. And I don't do politics, in club politics and stuff. We've got this common interest, for God's sake. We're all building droids. We've all got this thing that we all, this mutual thing that we all enjoy. Why can't we get on? We do all get on. So when I start to hear of clubs having politics going on and stuff, I'm like, that doesn't. I've got no time for that.
Cool. So for an easier question, what are your top 3 favourite Star Wars droids that aren't astromechs?
Okay, good one. So mouse droid, classic mouse droid. I like the scrubber droid. There's an upside down one
We'll
there,
have a look
and
in
I've
a
got a
moment.
made one there. And the ALT droid. Bit of favouritism there with the
Which is
ALT
above
droid, the
your
track
head.
droid. So yeah, there's the 39.1 percenters, but I've got a full scale one as well. So yeah, they're my favourite droids.
How do you
That
do
was fun. That was
Now
fun.
we're going to go on to some general, silly questions.
No, they're serious questions, Oliver.
Serious
They are
questions.
serious. and
Come
we
on,
want to know-
serious questions
we
only,
want-
please, in
we
here.
want
Come on.
to know the answers for these
So I'm
questions.
going to ask you a question I know the answer to. What's your favourite 80s band?
Thompson Twins.
And why?
So I've got this thing that whenever I'm into something, if I've got an interest, I just take it to another level, or as far as I can take it, as I've proven with the Astromechs, and when I was a kid, when I was into the Thompson Twins, I was in the fan club. I used to go to all their tours. I managed to get backstage. I got to know them. I used to go to the airport. I used to bunk off school and go to video shoots for some of their promo videos. So yeah, and I did like their music as well, funny enough. So yeah, Thompson Twins. I know it's an odd one, it's not Duran Duran or whatever, but I loved keyboard music, Yazoo and OMD and all that stuff.
What's your favourite one?
But Thompson Twins, what their
Favourite track?
Hold Me Now.
Classic.
We'll have to play it on the video just so everyone knows what it was.
Thank you. Yeah, just people are just like, who's the Thompson Twins?
What's the
But,
first line? What's the first line of the song?
I had a picture pinned to my wall, an image of you and of me.
That's very kind of
We can get Lee doing a cover, but I don't know how we came
No.
royalties.
you. He won't do the Muppet one, so come on, we've got to try it.
Come on.
Okay, right, these are specific for you. What was your reaction to the Lee T fan club?
I thought it was hilarious. Was it Sam that did it? Probably, yeah. I think Colin had a bit of involvement. I think Colin Barker, but yeah, I think Sam was the main instigator. And of course, it's sweet as well, But it's not like, hey, I've got a fan club. Look at me, whee! But no, it's just like, this is hilarious. And yeah, the T-shirts and the Facebook group that I'm not a member of. That would just be weird, being a member of your own fan club. So yeah, it's a bit of fun. Come on, and the Lee Duino thing that came from it, and the offshoot from that, brilliant. All good fun.
Have you got any of the merchandise then?
No, I have merchandise. No, I haven't.
Lee's
Oh,
not-
Helen's got a T-shirt.
Lee's not allowed a merchandise.
Isn't he?
No,
Come on, I'm not going to wear a T-shirt with the Lee Towersey fan club on it. Come on.
Oh, dear.
I mean, one of Sam's items was the suitcase cover with your face.
Oh,
on
of
it,
course, yes.
which would be ideal
Oh.
for going on holiday.
That's right.
That reminds me, my girlfriend Helen was watching, listening to a podcast, My Dad Wrote a Porno,
Yes.
and the Daisy Ridley one.
Yes, I was tipped off about that. Daisy Ridley is talking about she had an R2D2 suitcase which was too big for her and she didn't want, so she came up to me on rap, funny enough, for The Last Jedi, and she said, I've got a suitcase that you might want. And she turned up the following day and she'd signed it. Dear Lee, you won't be too inconspicuous with this suitcase. Love, Daisy. So she gave me this, and I do use it. It is a bit big, but whenever I go on my American trips, I take it with me. And Daisy tells this story on My Dad Wrote a Porno. Yeah.
By the way, Lee's dad didn't write a porno. It's a podcast.
Sorry, yeah, that's right. Yes, my dad did not write a porno. There is a Anyway,
So
moving
to
on.
move swiftly on, on a film like the ALT droid, you've said in the past it's one of your favourites. Building any droid is sort of part of a team. So can you say like who designed it, who did like build of it, like the electronics, and what impact it's had?
Yeah, so with a build, usually there's sort of 3 people at least involved, and on this occasion it was designed by Jake Lunt, that we've had on the show before, previously for an interview, and he did the concept design work. He did BB-8 as well, funnily enough, so the actual dome of the ALT droid is quite similar to a BB-8 dome. You can see the stylisation of it, which is Jake's style, and he just gave me the drawing, and then I just scaled it up. He had a figure next to it, so I knew what sort of size it would be, and cut it out of Fomex at the time, which is similar to styrene, but you can cut it easier with a Stanley knife, and it glues with super glue, so it's very nice to work with, but a bit spongy, so it's a bit soft and gets damaged quite easily. And then Tim Berry, which was the first time Tim and I worked together, so a lot of viewers will know Tim Berry. He designed and built the drive system, the track system. So he went on to do the 39.1%ers as well, and that was Tim learning how to use CAD. He decided to teach himself CAD, and that's one of the first big things he did on CAD, so fair play to Tim for that. So that was 3 of us involved. I painted them as well, but then Henrik probably would have finished the weathering and stuff. I'm no good at weathering, so I'm good at base colours, but when it comes to all the looking good and weathered, that was down to Henrik. So that's 4 people involved in a build, and it was such fun to build. It was good to build a astromech type of droid, even though it was a bit smaller, and it's got tank track, so it drives over anything.
Brilliant. So, in regards to your ALT droid, what was your feeling when Sam face planted?
So it is top heavy, no denying that. And on set we used to sandbag them. We used to literally put sandbags in the bottom of them so they did not face plant. Now on my own, I haven't got any sandbags. I could probably get some if I needed them. I do need them now, because I was doing an interview actually for Fantha Tracks, and Sam came up to me for a bit of a joke, as he does, a bit of a laugh. Hey, let me drive your droid, Lee. So I said, yeah, sure, calling his bluff. And the look on his face then was like, oh, he's letting me drive his droid. And I just said to him, whatever you do, don't face plant. That was my parting words. And then I gave him the transmitter, and he was driving it around, and it was getting faster. I could hear it getting faster and faster. And I had my back to the droid and Sam while I was doing the interview with Fantha Tracks. And all I saw was the look on Mark's face that was interviewing me when I heard this thud. And he said, do you want to stop for a minute? And I just turned around to see the look on Sam's face. And it was everything in one look. It was sorry. It was it was just all these emotions going through him. And I did tell you, and I've got kids. I know you have as well, Giles. So you learn to not just lose your rag. Just like it's done now. But fair play to him. He took it home and he fixed it, and he left me a loving sticker inside the droid as well to say lovingly face planted and repaired by Sam Prentice.
Is that still in there? Is there?
Yeah,
we can see that later, can we?
Okay. So we obviously know about Sam sort of crashing stuff. Because you're into like remote control planes, cars, boats. As a youngster, you must have crashed a few things.
Yes, planes especially. 2 planes I've had. The first plane took me about a year to build. It was a balsa wood frame, and you have to stretch the material over it and heat shrink it. And it took me about a year to build it. And the first time I took it out, I took it to an airfield. I had an instructor with me as well, so I thought I was doing the right thing. He got it up in the air. He tested it, it was fine, it flew lovely. It was a fuel one as well, so it did shift, it was noisy. Then he handed me the controller, and as soon as he handed me the controller, it started to dive. And he just watched it. He was supposed to take he said, I'll take the transmitter off you if it gets a bit close to the ground. But the controller's never taken out of my hands. So I just watched it go down and that was the end of it. So we went and collected the pieces, and then about 3 or 4 years ago, I thought I'd learn again. So I got a glider with just a propeller on it to get it up to height, and then the engine cuts off and just glide down. And I bought it for Joel, my youngest, for his birthday.
Right. That's a sneaky way of doing it.
Yeah, and I took it out first and flew it successfully with Joel. Joel was there to witness it, but it got a bit windy, so the second time we went out, I said, look, I'll let you fly it now. And I think before we even got to fly it, I got it up in the air, and then I stalled it and face planted this glider, and it's polystyrene, so I've got the servos and the linkages, but nothing else.
So that's 2 planes. Any other planes you
That's
crashed?
it. That was the end of it. I'd still hankering to learn how to fly planes. I'd love to, because I can drive most other things, So I would like to do planes, helicopters, and no, I've done helicopters as well, but with the stabilisation bar on them, so that takes the difficulty away from you, and I can do them. But yeah, planes I'd like to do.
Do you want to give a shout out to Sasha, because he broke some of yours, didn't he?
Sasha, what did Sasha break?
Your van?
No, it was Sean.
Was it Sean who broke your van?
Sean smashed. A guy you don't know, Sean?
No.
He works for Paul Sylvester. No.
I thought it was Sasha for some reason.
So just while we're talking about crashing things, tell me the story about your Lego R2 at Legoland.
Oh! So he's here actually, so we can get a shot of him as well. Lego R2 wasn't my finest hour. I built it in a week knowing that Legoland was coming up for the Star Wars event, and I saw that Andy Schwartz, yes, saw that Andrew Schwartz had built one in America, and he kindly shared the files with me to build one. So I had a go, but the material I had and the time I had, it wasn't the best build, to be fair. And again, because it was two-legged R2, because it was the Lego R2, it was really top heavy. But no, we took it along, and Oliver was very helpful. He helped me out and stuff, and we decided to eventually wheel it out, and we opened the gates, and it went onto this block paving area and face planted it. So that was the end of it, really. I think, wasn't it, Oliver? The dome wasn't done either. The dome wasn't finished, so it didn't look great. But it's still here. I will finish it one day. But the styrene's all gone brittle, and it's looking a bit sorry for itself, and still got the scuff mark from the faceplant. But I just picked it up and drove it out of Legoland, and it was never seen again.
Never seen again.
So, do you want to ask the last most important question?
Yeah, this is the most important question. I think you'll understand why after we ask it. So, how important is Burnsley Football Club to you?
Burnsley?
Yeah. The team you love the most?
Brentford?
No. Burnsley.
Burnsley?
Yeah, Burnsley. You're always on about it on Facebook.
I've never heard of them.
How important is Brentford Football Club to you?
Brentford Football Club. Okay, so this is a bit of a crossover now, because people might zone out, so please bear with me. But
You've got 2 minutes.
This
Ready,
is the
go.
story. So I was never really into football as a kid. I used to like Liverpool because they were doing well when I was a kid. And my dad has always liked football. And through childhood, my dad and I didn't really get on. We had nothing in common because I was into Star Wars and he wasn't, basically. And then sadly my dad got cancer. This has got a happy ending, so don't worry. And I thought, well, and he was given 5 years. So I thought, God, this is life. I need to do something that I'd have in common with my dad. So I decided to go to football with him. And going to football with him meant to go and see Brentford. And before I knew it, as I've already touched on, that I go in this feet first and get so heavily involved, I had a season ticket before my dad did. I collect football shirts now. I'm trying to collect every single shirt the club have ever had for all the seasons. And I've been going there for, 15 years now. My dad's fine. He's cured of cancer, thankfully. That's all in remission. My boys have got involved as well. So it's 3 generations going to football. Every home game I go to, if I'm not filming, try and get to away games as well. And it's just another passion and escapism from all this. And, just to shout out on the terraces and to support a team who have now got to the Premiership for the first time. So the football season's just coming up soon. We're going to be playing your Liverpools and your Man Uniteds and stuff like that for the first time ever. It's very exciting times. So yeah, and I've been talking to one of the directors of the football club recently, funny enough, because I'm one of their celebrity supporters, and we hope to do some work together. So you may see a Star Wars / Brentford crossover at some point. But yeah, it's just another passion of mine, away from Star Wars, and yeah, come on, you bees.
I think the Barnsley question was actually perfect.
Yeah.
Barnsley.
You did that on purpose. Okay, another question for you then. What other hobbies do you partake in?
Other hobbies? Wow. I haven't really got any other hobbies. I think that's it. So I do 3D printing, but 3D printing other models like the Dejeric chess table and stuff. I've got resin printers, so I'm printing and painting the characters from the Dejeric chess table. So again, that's Star Wars related. I go walking with Helen. When we're back to normal times, I'll have a bit of paintballing. So if we can have a joy building paintballing time, that would be amazing.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's it really.
What about the cards?
Can't think of any other hobbies. That's a business. I don't really collect anymore, but I deal in trading cards. So mainly cigarette cards, which are pre-war. But I also do bubblegum and tea cards as well. So that's a business I've got, which I do outside of the film industry when I'm not working at Pinewood. So I've got that. So yeah, that's it really. That all keeps me more than busy. I've got a stack of stuff to do always. I love being busy, but any more hobbies? I can think of stuff I'd like to be doing that I just haven't got time for, like maybe playing golf. But again, that would take over my life just like everything else does.
Last year you had a bit of an incident in your garden.
I did.
Which we'll obviously show the video.
I did.
With Benny Hill music.
Of course. Talk us through it.
Well, I like to think I'm quite fit. I'm 50 now, so but I can still move and obviously bounce. I was
Rephrase
wearing.
That. How old are you?
I'm 51 now. Getting on a bit. But yeah, so it was wet. It was a wooden slope. I've been slipping on it consistently all day, but because I had the wheelbar, I was using that for stability, so it was fine, or I thought it was fine. Wheelbar full of cement, and that was it. I was gone. But oh god, it did hurt. It winded me. I was so lucky I didn't bang the back of my head on the decking. Where the ramp. I was so lucky. But I got up, and you'll see in the video, Helen heard the thud, and then she just looked out the window. She didn't see it happen, but she just saw me lying there from after seeing the thud. So you see her like jog across the lounge area out the door. You're right, and I just got up. But in my head, I've got cement. It's going to go off. It's going to go. It's going to dry. So I just carried on, just styled it out, and like, oh my god.
So as a final question then for you, is there anything you'd like to say to builders, personally yourself?
Yeah, of course. Just if you're thinking of building, go for it, because we're a great bunch of people wherever you are in the world. I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of builders around the world, and they're a great bunch of people. So just on the social side of thing, it's brilliant. Don't rush your build, which is something I didn't mention earlier on. When you're researching, take your time. It takes some people years. Some people talk for years that they're going to finish it, next month, and then a year later they still haven't finished it. It doesn't matter. It's not a race. Don't set yourself a deadline. And enjoy it. If you don't fancy going into your workshop one night and doing your job, don't hate it. And yeah, and I've got to say, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Thanks to Oliver. I'm going to embarrass him now, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing today at Pinewood and what have you. I was fortunate enough that Oliver chose me to help him. I've taken it and run with it, certainly, and I'm ever grateful to that. And thanks to you two for coming round. It's been fun. I love talking, as you could tell, and I'm looking forward to getting you two back, because Sam and I will have to do a cup of tea coming to you soon. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I guess it's over to Sam.